Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. With us today is Miss Amanda Green. Thanks for coming, Amanda.
Pleasure.
Nice to meet you. So, Amanda is actually our social media admin. She does a fantastic job. So, at last we've actually got to meet her. She's going to tell us her own story. So, Amanda, expelled from school at the age of 14 for dealing drugs. Armed robber at 14. First sentence, 15. Another 8 months at 16, escaped the police station, credit card fraud, and another 6 armed robberies.
Sounds bad, but it's not as bad as it sounds.
Okay, let's just go back to the beginning. Let's go back to where it all started for you, where you grew up, etc, etc.
Ayrshire, seaside town, not far outside Glasgow. Just me and my mum.
Yeah.
Single parent family, good education, after school clubs. That's about it until I hit secondary school and
that's where it
went
started to
a bit
go wrong, was it?
Yep.
What influenced that to sort of start going wrong? Mixed with the wrong crowd, or just
there was obviously abuse as a child, and once
Right.
I got to secondary school, I felt suffocated and I just wanted out and away. So that was running the streets, not wanting to be stuck in school, not wanting anybody to tell me what to do, just wanted to be out doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any control before that.
So where did it first start with the crime stuff?
After first year of secondary school, when I was about 13, so I was plunking school, shoplifting, not coming home, out drinking at the park, general, well, what I would say is general teenage stuff.
Yeah, just shoplifting in shops and that sort of stuff.
Stealing silly stuff,
Yeah.
like hair dyes and makeup. And then obviously you start getting around people that are doing the same things.
Yeah.
Drugs gets introduced.
Right.
Then you start getting introduced to people that are selling drugs, and it just snowballs from there.
So what sort of age was you getting to now with this sort of...
14.
So 14.
Yeah.
Was this when you first got done for the drugs and expelled from school?
Yes, but it was a case of friends, we all chipped in, we all wanted, but it was me that went and bought them. But come back to school, we took them in school. Some of us left, dog in the school, a couple of them stayed and got caught. Where did you get them? Amanda got them for me.
She got grassed up basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the police turned up at the house, searched the house, you know, my mum's house, and looking. I was like, but I don't have any, because I didn't. I had only bought what I had, but that was enough for them to. I was expelled from school. How did your parents react to that? Well, it was just my mum. She was not happy chappy. But by then, I was already not going to school, not coming home, disappearing for days at a time.
Being a problem child.
Yeah. Social workers, education board, you know, just not being cooperative.
Yeah.
So
So when did that lead into, obviously at that age you also was involved in your first sentence? Was that for the drugs?
no, because that was 15. At 14, what they did with the drugs, I was referred to the children's panel.
Yeah.
And that was compulsory supervision order and intensive therapy group, an IT group, which is meant to address your issues, but it just introduces you to more naughty children.
It didn't help, it just makes you worse.
Yeah, because it puts you with people like-minded.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I was introduced to an older crowd,
Yeah.
sitting in flats with men and women that are in their 30s, and I'm only 14.
Oh, blimey.
Which obviously at the time I'm thinking, yes, I'm the big one, I'm in with these lot,
Yeah.
they're selling drugs, they're just at jail, they're people that are respected, but they didn't respect them, they feared them, but I was looking at it as respect then,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, you know,
Yeah.
the bee's knees. But it didn't work out like that, obviously, because I get tangled up in things that a 14-year-old shouldn't be getting
Yeah,
tangled up in.
Because really, you're just a child still, aren't you?
Yeah.
14, you're not really aware of, you know.
And they must have been quite obvious, because sometimes I was coming into the flats and I had a school uniform on.
Oh, blimey.
So they must have, like, it wasn't that they didn't know
Yeah.
that I was 14. They didn't have a problem with selling drugs to me. They didn't have me a problem sitting there when there was guns sitting on the table. They didn't have a problem with me listening to what they were saying
Yeah.
at all. So, and then I get dragged into, there was an armed robbery that was getting planned, and they needed me for a part of that plan. And
So did they ask you, sort of just ask you to get involved, or was you a bit forced into it, or what was your...
they were sitting talking in front of it, and it was they needed somebody to go to the place and check it out, but they didn't want to go in. I was to go in, look and see the layout, check that they were going to drop me off so I could check the roads.
Yeah.
And there was another bit part involved, but I can't speak about the other bit because that was never, they were never charged with that. And what happened was, I'd done that, come back, I had drew the plan, so that was in my handwriting in the flat. They had went later on the next night, a run to go and check out after dark, what they would like, a dummy run.
Yeah.
But they were all on drugs, they owed money, they got there, they had what they needed in the boot of the car, and they just decided they were taking the fella hostage that was in there, and done it that night instead of when it was planned for.
Right.
Fella managed to get away and raise the alarm, and they were caught. They were like put a containment area around them. They were caught, crashed the car. There was a woman in the car. She got stuck in the car, but I was back at her bit watching her kids because that was something.
Yeah.
They ran. One got caught flagging down a lift. It was CID flagged the lift down the road, and the other one was found in a field, a head injury. But I didn't at this time. I didn't know that's what happened because I was just left sitting there.
Yeah.
Somebody came at the house saying, "You better go home because it's midnight now. Your mum's going to be looking for you. I'll sit with the kids." And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, the doors went through, and it was CID for that area. And they were like, "You need to tell us who left the house, who was in the house, where they were going, what was going on, who have you left the kids with." And it wasn't because I didn't want to grass. I didn't say anything. I was too scared of the people to say anything. So I was just like, I don't know. Police station, hours and hours of interviews. Luckily for me, I didn't end up getting charged with anything because the two men said, "No, it's nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
She was there in the room when we were talking about it, but she doesn't really know much."
How does that make you feel now, sort of looking back, being an adult, that them people, that you're a 14-year-old in that position? How does that sort of...
I think it's madness.
It
It's
is,
not
isn't it?
something, I mean, obviously I've been on to commit other crimes and been around other criminals, but I would not be selling drugs to a 14-year-old, sitting with a 14-year-old,
Yeah.
dragging them into a crime.
Especially at that age, it could
Yeah,
ruin their
I mean,
whole
what were
sort
they
of-
thinking?
That's what I mean, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah, so what went on from that, after that one?
After that, I was 15, and I was back running about with my own age group. That kind of scared me a wee bit. Not enough to suit me.
So you stepped away from the crime a little bit from that, did you? Or
No, not really.
No.
But I was just with my own age group, so
Yeah.
then it was like stealing cars,
Right.
breaking into cars for radios, taking drugs. I learned from somebody as well, forgery, how to do checks, credit cards, that kind of thing. And then I had a boyfriend that was from Paisley, not far away, and he was assault and robbery was his thing. And the two is robbed somebody in a train one night, and that was when I had got 9 months for assault and robbery. He got 18.
Blimey.
Um,
And how old are you here now?
15.
15.
Get out from that, social work got me my own wee flat. That was a secure unit though, that wasn't.
So did that, what was that, what did you actually go to there? Like a young offenders?
It was secure unit, which
Secured
is
unit.
like for under 16s.
Yeah.
Before you would go to, we would go bios, prison. But that's more like a children's home environment, but you're locked in.
Yeah.
It's not.
Like a boarding school type of
Yeah,
type of
that
thing,
kind
yeah.
of thing. And then, as I say, social work at 16 got me my own flat when I got out. And it was just a party house. Because at 16, what else are you going to do when you've got a house all to yourself, money coming in? And then I was only a few months I lasted with that. And I can't, what was the first 16? Oh, I had got, there was like a few things. It was like car theft, a shoplifting, had been an abscondee, cousin had ran away from a children's home, obviously came to the flat, police found him there, so that was another charge. I didn't do the community service that I was given. I tried, I turned up for one day and they put me in an old folks home. I was like, no, I just can't, and I left, and I was like, I'll just send me back to court and I'll take whatever I'm given. And I was standing in the door after they got me, and all I could hear was 1 month, 2 months, 1 month, 2 months, 1 month. But I couldn't hear concurrent or consecutive. I was just adding all these months up, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be for ages.
Yeah. And what was the sentence for that?
It was 8 months.
8 months?
Yeah, on the time they put the,
Yeah.
because some of them ran concurrent, some of them ran consec. And then had to, from this court, had to go to Glasgow Sheriff. It was Strathclyde Police at the time that did our court. And that is the scariest place, way more scary than going to jail, let me tell you, going into Glasgow Sheriff Court.
Glasgow Sheriff?
Yes. That is
I've not heard of
terrifying.
that.
Yeah, it's like, well, obviously Glasgow's the city up there.
Yeah.
But Scotland only has one female prison,
Ah, right.
which is Cottonville. There's a couple of female units in men's prisons scattered about, but that's where you go. But from where I am, they have to transport you through to Glasgow first. And it's scary, because you go in, down underground, and then when you go in, and it's all the men's cells that you come to first.
Yep.
And you're getting all the comments, it's noisy, it's loud, it smells.
So as you're walking in, you're getting all the other prisoners.
Yeah, I
shouting
remember I'm
stuff
only
and-
16. I'm
Yeah.
like shell shocked that I'm even there, and then have to go into the cells with the women that I've came, that are all from Glasgow, that are all grown women, by the way.
Yeah.
Atmosphere, and I'm thinking something's not right here, but I'm not saying nothing. Next thing, there's a fight breaks out, and I'm thinking, oh, I'll just stand back like that. Gets up the road, goes through reception, gets onto the block, and then they goes to put me in the cell that night. And who have I got? But the woman that was fighting in the cells.
Oh, really?
Homemade tattoos,
Oh,
shaved
dear.
head, like see the classic,
Yeah.
like female prison. You can think, that's, and she's shouting, "I don't want a bio, I don't want a first offender," and I'm thinking, I'm both of them. She turned out to be really nice though, but I was like, no, I don't want to go.
You're probably the worst person you could
Yeah.
imagine going in the cell.
She looked really scary, I'll admit,
Yeah.
it was really scary, but she actually was quite nice.
Yeah.
And then from that sentence, when I get out, I was out 2 weeks. And then this is the most embarrassing one. Night out, coming back, newspapers delivered, and I lifted a newspaper off the top of the pile, walked down the road a wee bit further, police car pulled in. I don't know if the CCTV operator had said to them that we were doing something or whatever. What have you got? It's just a newspaper. We're arresting you for theft. I was like, I'll put it back. He's like, no.
Blimey.
78 pence worth of newspaper went. They held me for court the next day. They ran out of cuffs. All the men get cuffed in twos, but I was the only woman. They ran out. I see the cuffs with the black bar in the middle that control. So they put the old style cuffs in me, the chain, but it kept falling off. So they put an extra D bar on that builds it up. So when they've done like that, they thought it wasn't going to come off, but as soon as I walked in, I went like that. The cuffs could slide down. So I was like that, waving to the guys, going, and I put my cuffs back on. So they've took them out to put them in the bus first, and then they've took me out. But they had to take somebody back off, so they shoved me to the side of the bus, and the next thing, policeman's let go of the cuffs. And I don't know why, and I don't know where I thought I was going or what I thought I was doing, but I thought, I'm running. And I did. So as I was running, I was pulling the cuffs off, and I was running out. The police cars, vehicles come in one way and go out the other. So I was running where they were coming in. I've got out, I've ran straight into a police car that was coming in, and we've looked at each other for that split second. They've obviously thought, what's going on? My cuffs are lying over there, and I've dodged round that, and it's straight onto a main road. And I'm thinking, they've got to be behind me. With my head down and I'm running. Don't know where I was running to, don't know why. Just seen the opportunity and took it. And I thought, right, over the first side of the main road, and I'm standing in the middle, kept running, and I thought, I'm looking, but I turned to look behind me to see who was the nearest policeman to me, but I've ran straight out onto the road and got knocked down by a taxi. Oh no. And then there was about 3 or 4 police officers landed on top of me, and I've just looked round, and they've all been coming out the police station, out the front door, the back door, car doors are open, and I'm lying there like this, squashed. So that was an evading police. Did
you get damage from being hit by the taxi?
Yeah, I had to go, I didn't get to court that day for my theft of a newspaper. I had to go to the hospital. I ended up in crutches, and I damaged the ligaments in my right leg. Oh. So back to court the next day, and on top of my theft of a newspaper, I had my evading police custody. And they gave me 3 months in each. So they did. But when I went up there, I had to be, what are you in for? Theft. I'm not admitting that. I didn't add that bit on. I'm like, please don't MD come in from my area and say, she got done with stealing a news. I just was like, theft. That's it. I'm not admitting.
What paper was it, out of curiosity? I hope it was worth.
It was an Ayrshire Post. It was like
not even a Sun or something.
No, it was like the local rag, and I was probably in it the next week for stealing it. So it was, and from that one, I was out. I get lived, and I was out a whole 7 hours. Bumped into a friend as I got off the train. We went for a drink. We were in the pub. A fight broke out. And the next thing, several of us arrested. Back to jail again.
You was only out 7 hours.
7 hours. Didn't even make it home.
You didn't learn your lesson, did you?
Still had half my lib grant in the pocket. It's the only time I went in and I had money. But I don't think that was my fault, because I didn't start the fight. Yeah. I just get caught up in it. I just get involved in it, and everybody gets scooped up together. Yeah. I got out that time, and I was out a wee while for that one. I don't know, 2 or 3 months. Still getting into trouble. Me and my best friends had got arrested one night. We had been out breaking into sheds, cars, whatever. Police had been out looking for us, and caught us at the corner of the scheme that we stayed in, equipped to steal. So they took us into the police station because they got screwdrivers and stuff on us. Put us in the detention cell, and pulled the blue mattress off, found some big bag of white powder, and stuck it in. But it turned out at the time there was a lot of dodgy eckies going about in the clubs that we were in. There had been about 5 or 6 deaths, so they'd been pulling in drug dealers. But then the fella had obviously been put in there before us. We didn't know this at the time, we just found the drugs. Social workers came and got us, took us out. Next day we were like, yes, we'll try. Didn't have a clue what we had, but we thought we'll try it.
So you took it anyway, not knowing what it was?
Yeah, we'll snort a bit of this, we'll bomb a bit of that, and we'll see what happens. And we're thinking, nothing's happened, that's crap, so we'll just have some more. Then we decided we were going out into the town. Yeah. And obviously we didn't know, or we didn't notice that we obviously were intoxicated with some sort of substance. Best friend collapsed, had a fit, ambulance came, she was unconscious. They've said, are you all right? I'm like, I'm absolutely fine. We'll just take you to the hospital as well. I remember arriving at the hospital, the paramedics opened the door and like, are you sure you're all right? And I remember opening my mouth to say, yeah, and the next thing, boom, I've
So what was the substance you was taking?
What happened was the police surgeon came in because obviously they wanted to know what we took and where we got it. And I'm like, we got it from you. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, yours gave us it, this is all your fault. Police are like, that does. So we were telling, and they're like, that's not, no, that can't be right. No, you have made the allegation. It needs to be investigated. Police surgeon drew blood. There was a big investigation. Chief Inspector came down from Glasgow to our local police station. We had to go in asking us questions. We were like, well, you tell us. It turned out it was PMA, which is very similar to MDMA, but takes longer in the body to break down, and it's stronger. As I'd never heard of it before, but it had been cut with things as well. You know, there was a long list of things on what they had got back from the surgeon, that had come back. Quite lucky, both of us, to actually have lived, because we were in hospital for a few days, heart honours, unconscious.
Oh, really?
Quite serious. Not learned a lesson, though, because we signed ourselves out against advice, both of us, and we're straight back to doing whatever was available at the time. But again, we said to the lawyers, can we sue for that? Because that was the police's fault. And he's like, no, you can't sue for that. Just be happy that you're alive. And from there, I was arrested again, and that was for stolen credit cards. I got caught in a shop trying to use credit cards. And
what age is this now? So
I was just before I turned 17.
Just 17, she's still young still.
Yeah. I fit a lot in a short period of time. I didn't seem to be learning any lessons.
No, I can see that.
At the time, it was all fun and games.
Yeah.
You know, everybody in the town knew who you were.
I suppose if you haven't got any guidance as well, like someone sort of telling you you're right and wrong, you know, you're sort of led to believe that's normal.
I was around people. I had removed myself from the family environment.
Yeah.
I was staying house to house to house with friends. We were partying. We were committing crimes to fund the partying. They were getting arrested for stuff. I was getting arrested for stuff. And it was just like a vicious...
Caught up in that circle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It just wasn't going anywhere. And as I say, I had already been shown how to do the forgery stuff, how to do the cards, get them, again, getting used by older people.
Yeah.
Because they were giving us a list, what they wanted. We were only getting a small percentage.
So they're sending you out doing all the shopping,
yep.
giving you a little cut of it, doing their dirty work,
if they got new drugs in as well, they were testing out new batches on us. We thought this was brilliant as well, quite dangerous. Why would you touch something that you don't know what it is? Or they're saying it's new, try it. But we thought this was good fun.
Yeah.
Again, oh no, look at us, older people.
I suppose that's the age thing though, isn't it? You're sort of not mature enough to have your own sort of mind sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And you think you're invincible as well. It's like stolen cars as well, joyriding. I would never do that. Now when you see it, you think you do realise how dangerous that is. Yeah. We thought it was funny at the time. Yeah. It's not. You know, but again, as you see, you just think everything, we'll just live fast and we'll see how it plays out. Again, back to court. Not been out long again. Charges have piled up. It's the same judges that keep seeing me. Another 6 months back inside. And I was like, that's it. I'll not be back. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting out. But that didn't happen either. So I was out for 11 days by the time I got to court. But 4 of them were spent in the police station because I got arrested on the Thursday night. And it was through bank holiday weekend to the Tuesday. But myself and 2 friends had been basically on a mad one. There was a post office robbery that me and one of them did do. Again, it sounds like I'm making excuses. I get tangled up in that one as well. He had been doing other robberies. We came across the sub post office. He was like, I'm doing it. I'm stood at the door, half foot in, half foot out, holding the door open. He's went in, smashed the glass, went over the counter. He's shouting at the woman to give her the money. I didn't think she was giving him the money, and I thought with the handgun he was going to end up hitting us. So I went in and I was like, give me the keys to open up. You know how you need the key to open the drawer for the money? And it was stupid because we had money. We were staying in bed and breakfast. We had been robbing other people. We had been stealing taking drugs. It was just craziness for 10 days. Not a lot of it that I can remember, apart from remembering that, because it was more I was scared that he was going to do something.
Yeah.
I thought, I need to do something, went in. But that meant...
Putting yourself bigger in the picture for the
and
crime.
of course, as soon as I've went in, it's obvious that I'm a woman. You can, like a female, you can tell by my description. The police know me, so and wasn't many females at that time in our area that was criminally active.
So when you went in there, was it just like dressed normally, or was you sort of covered
But I
up a
had
little
my
bit?
hood up and I had put my thing, because it wasn't planned. We just,
Yeah.
so we didn't, it wasn't that we went in, it was a planned job, and we had masks, and like it was serious armed
cuff.
robbery. No, it wasn't anything like that. And from there, didn't even have, like, wasn't driving, so we had to run, so we were running on foot through streets. It was crazy, so everybody could see what had happened.
Blimey.
Gets back to the bed and breakfast that we were staying in, and that was my other friend was waiting there, and we're like, oh, we've got away with it, because we're hungry, we'll go up to the Chinese. But before that, we're going via the drug dealers. We had been drinking, and we went and got some drugs, and then we stopped in at another house, and the next thing I know, Cockers is robbing the guy that's in the house. I'm like, please just give him the stuff and you won't get hurt. So that, again, there we go, assault and robbery, I'm involved in that.
You in that, yeah.
But a fight broke out, and there was another girl there. I'd been arguing with her, but I took the knife off my co-accused that was trying to rob the guy, and and I've just went bang. She gets stabbed in the arm, the side of the face, and I've cut her neck. So that was a serious assault. But we've left there and went to the Chinese. Left total devastation behind us. We're hungry, we're going up at the Chinese. Argument breaks out at the Chinese. It was like one night, I was like, oh, this is crazy. But the one at the Chinese, we didn't start, it was another man that started.
That old chestnut.
No, it was. He was drunk. His wife was trying to shut him up because he kept saying, what are you looking at? Well, maybe we did look funny because, I don't know, standing outside eating my Chinese. And we're like, there's lots of police running about there, we better move. So we went back to the bed and breakfast, but by this time they were out looking for us. We've known there's a robbery, assault and robbery in the house. The girls obviously went to the hospital, and the next thing, we've heard a knock at the bed and breakfast, and there's three sitting. And we're thinking it's probably somebody else in the bed and breakfast, maybe tell us to keep the noise down. We've opened the door, and it's just been police, 4 or 5 of them, and they've come in the room. They've went straight for him, because obviously we think he's armed.
Yeah.
And they've pulled me out the door, but I've been in the landing, and they've been holding my arm, and I've thought, I'm not waiting, and it was stylish, so I've just grabbed my arm and pulled, and me and the police were tumbling down the stairs. Again, I picked myself up, I've ran for the front door to get out of the bed and breakfast. But as I've came out, top of the stairs, and I've just looked, and all I could see was blue flashy lights all the way around.
Oh, outside.
No police, and I was like, oh, I'm committed now, I'm just going to run, and I ran right into them.
Nowhere to run.
Nowhere to run, but I tried anyway, taken to the floor, and that was it, back to court. That was a serious one, because there were 6 armed robberies we were charged with.
6 armed robberies?
Yeah.
What was the sentence you got for that? It must be...
Well, there was 6 armed robberies, there was a serious assault, there was 4 house break-ins, and a bail act that was added in. It was a 7-day lie down, because it was referred to the High Court. We were fully committed, which was a long remand. It was a 110-day lie down. Co-accused got 7 years. I got 4 years and 8 months. And the other co-accused put statements in against us, and he got out.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. So that was my longest sentence, and my last one.
Your last one.
My last
so what
one.
age did you come out of there?
Just before my 21st birthday.
Before your 21st birthday. So how did you find being in prison? Like, how did you cope with it? How did you deal with it?
I liked the routine. That's going to sound crazy, but I thrive in routine. As I say, there's only one female prison up there, so young offenders are mixed in with cons, like your adult women. And I think that helps, because most of them were a lot older than me, and I was their kids' ages.
Yeah.
So,
I suppose you don't want to step out of line like that, do you? If they're bigger, older people, you're sort of...
Well, I was always getting into trouble.
Inside, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a bit of a bully. I was also full of carry-on as well, which wiles are, and it gets a bit annoying. try, and obviously if I had my best friend in, you put the two together, we fed off each other.
Yeah.
Fight.
You was locked away with one of your friends?
Yeah, she would a couple of times, obviously in that long sentence, she'd come in and out.
Yeah.
And what they tried to do was split us up, so I get shipped out to Dumfries, which is a female unit in a men's jail at the bottom of Scotland. I was only there about 6 weeks. That was actually worse than being in Cotton Vale.
Oh, really?
Because there's no, obviously here at the men's prison, they've got exercise yards, they're getting out for exercise, they're going to gym. No, not a bit of fresh air, not a bit of daylight, nothing.
Oh, you just locked up all the time, yeah? Pretty much?
Pretty much, that's it.
How did you find that mentally, having to deal with that though?
It was hard, but you do a lot of sleeping, you do a lot of reading, you do a lot of radio.
I know a lot of people sort of get depressed and stuff, don't they, for that sort of being locked away all the time.
I think that's where a lot of my aggression came from, and that was back because I was always blowing up, always on report for something, always picking a fight, picking an argument, having an opinion, terrorising. And what I did, this is the fun, I didn't even think that you got female sex offenders until I was in jail. It didn't even occur to me that you're like, how does that even happen? Because you think, you're always told it's the bad man, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I suppose you got like your Myra Hinleys and your sort of Rose West type of ones.
But I wasn't interested in anything like that. I didn't know anything about that. So I was like, that's shocking. So you would terrorise them. You know, can't come in the sitting room. You can't use the bathroom till we've used them. Keeping them up all night, banging in the wall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, silly things like that. And that would get me put down the digger for a few days, which said
Did you come across any sort of known criminals when you was locked up?
Not any that you would know, because obviously they're Scottish ones, but you've got Barbara Glover. She was charged at 15 for stabbing a friend in the playground. Hazel Carr, she was a lifer and got her sentence quashed on appeal, which was a big story. And then she had to fight the Home Secretary to get out because the time she had served, although they quashed the murder charge, I think it was like a manslaughter or something, so she went for parole, parole board gave her parole, but the Home Secretary wouldn't sign off on it, so she had to fight him through the courts to get that signed off. Yeah. On the Greenock mob as well, Bitches from Hell, they were involved in a kidnap torture, and the man in the group, it was somebody that was mentally retarded. They held for about 3 or 4 days, stripped her. She was held down while she was raped. They tortured her, made her drink pee. They were all in, and they were all doing 10s and 12s, so they weren't liked. Yeah. But they were all.
How do you deal with that yourself? Like people that are involved in that sort of crime, do you find it a bit sort of eerie?
I don't like them.
That's what I mean. Like,
no, you look at them and you think, really? Because they're protected. There's
are they really protected, yeah?
Officers with them all the time. There was no separating them out there. So the first couple of weeks they're in, they're always behind their door because they try to let it calm down a bit and thing. And then after that, there's always a prison officer with them. And if you just look at them the wrong way, then you're in report for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's hard.
It's crazy, isn't it, really, how people get protected like that.
So just everything's mixed in all together, or it was back then. Yeah. Which meant you were having to sit. I'm like, I'm not sitting in the same room as them. Yeah. I'm just not doing it.
What about like food time and that? Do they come into the same canteen as you, or are they separate for that?
Right. The way that's set up there in Cotton Vale at the time, the blocks are set up to look like houses. So they are, so it blends in with the housing scheme that's round about them, but the units are set, you had like living room, dining room, kitchen, and then you'd come down, you would have a toilet in, but there was only 7 cells in a unit. So there's either going to be 7 of you or 14 of you, depending. So it's set up like a home environment. It was meant to be, I don't know, to help you, pardon me, learn how to behave. I don't know, like in a normal environment. So they would be sitting, if they're on your unit, they're meant to come in and sit at the dinner table, or they're meant to come in and sit on the couch and watch the TV. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. I'm not sitting with them. I'm not having them anywhere near me. But that was just my personal thing. But generally, they would stay out the road. Just
keep themselves to themselves, out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you ever come across any problems in prison yourself?
No, not yeah, actually kind of got away quite. There was a lot of bullying going on, but it never happened to me. I seen it happening to other people.
Was you the bully in there?
Sometimes, I'll admit, sometimes, yeah, if there's somebody had something I wanted it, I'm going to take it or try and take it. And then again, the YOs had to go to YO gym. You put us all together, there's always going to be arguments and fights. There was one girl sitting at the dinner table, and she's come up behind me, tried to pull me back, punch me, and the only thing I could do was reach for the teapot, and I went like that back. Everybody's got roasted with hot water. And then let's try to split it up. So before any officers came in, I was like, right, come on down to the cell. And she's like, nope. And I was like, well, you can't start it out here and expect nothing to happen. So me and her went back and forth the whole time she was there, any opportunity we got. But that was about the only thing I got. So it was. But probably the worst thing I seen though was, and I walked in this by accident, and I've never seen it again. There was a girl who'd been shouting, I'm getting a visit, promised everybody a bit of this, the drugs that were coming in. But then after the visit, she's like, oh, I had to swallow it, you'll need to wait until tomorrow and I'll get. She never. So 2 or 3 of the girls obviously decided, because she said, I've not got it, I've not got it, I've not got it. They've went into the cell. I've walked in looking for somebody else, and it's been called decrutching. They've held her down while somebody's put their hand up to take.
Oh,
I'm like that, straight back at the door shut, nothing to do with me. And I did always after that, I thought, should I have said something? Do you know what I mean? That was one of the ones I kind of regretted, because generally I'll stick up for an underdog or a bully, or sometimes I just want an argument to get involved. But with that one, I just shut the door and walked away.
Yeah, didn't want to get involved in it.
But I was like, should have. I'm like, well, it's not my problem, but it's not nice.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to be careful though. Was there 2 or 3 of them in there doing that? So I suppose if you do step in, then you've got that on your back, haven't you?
But I thought I should have maybe have said something.
Yeah.
You know, like made it clear that I wasn't happy with that, but I never. I just turned and walked out the door.
I suppose really, like, no, it's not nice, but that girl sort of brought down herself by telling everyone that she's
Well, that was
doing
kind of my mindset at the time, but see afterwards when I thought about it, I'm thinking, it's still a violation though.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's a hard one. It's not something I would have done.
Yeah.
You know, I would have maybe come in and took something off you if it was sitting there, or had a go at taking it off you if you didn't, but I wouldn't have physically.
Yeah, gone.
Yeah, got to those lengths.
I'm deep.
I can tell you another one of something similar to that house, and at the time I was horrified. I had bagged parcel myself, and lassies come along to me, you serve, and I said, give me 2 minutes. So I went to try and get it. Couldn't reach it, couldn't get it. Multitude of positions, try. So she's come back, I was like, look, you'll need to give me 5 minutes. And the more I was getting annoyed with myself, the more I couldn't get it. And the next thing she comes on, she went, do you want any help? Do you want me to try? I was like, no, I would rather have to go to the health centre and admit it. Eventually I did get it, but see when she said that to me, and I'm looking at her and I'm going, no, I don't want you to help me at all. I mean, what did you say to that though? I don't know you've yet.
Thinking it from an outsider point of view, that's probably her greed or her wanting.
I think that, yeah, it was, hurry up and get
Hurry
it.
up, I want, yeah.
And I'm just like, absolutely not, no. That's probably the scariest thing that happened to me. But, you know, laughing about it now, but at the time I was starting to panic.
Yeah, that must be horrible. So what other sort of things do you come up against in the prison system? How did you find the screws and that? Did they treat you sort of bad or good? Or?
I didn't really speak unless I was spoken to. Back then, you didn't have your tellies, you didn't have your electric, you didn't have your quilts. It was hospital corners, itchy blankets, room inspections. You know, they were, first started off when I was in, it was sir and ma'am, you had to call them, and then it kind of changed a bit. It was Mr. whoever and Mrs. whoever. But generally, they kept in the offices, and you only ever went and spoke to them if you had to. There was a couple of them that thought they were sergeant majors. You know, put them in the main office, give them a radio, and they think, you know, they're in charge of the place. There was one that came down from Shots, and I actually don't think he could handle being in the men's jail. So he came down, he was uncomfortable with women. You know, if you would say, you get a lot with the women's, well then, they'll scalp male officer on the backside, or let me give a feeling in muscles, or oh, you know, like kind of
Yeah.
a lot of sexual innuendo there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will bat it off. You get some that will put you in report for it, and other ones that you can tell it's making them uncomfortable, they're getting the red. And this one, Mr. Lockhart, he was one of the ones that was uncomfortable. If you come in and you were getting dressed and he came into the cell, he'd turn and go back out. If you asked for any sanitary products, he'd be like, like. So this day, I had been on report for something. It was him that was doing the running to take me over to the orderly room. And at the time, I don't know why, you couldn't wear shoes to go in and see the governor. You had to put slippers on.
Oh, right.
I hadn't took my slippers with me, and he's saying, get those trainers off. And I'm like, I'm not taking my He said, get them off. I'm like, no, get them off. And we were going back and forth. It was quite quiet in the room. Obviously, the orderly room's got an adjudication going on. And the office is round the corner that had the other screws in it. And I don't know why. So I was like, one shoe off, chuck, there's a shoe. Next shoe off, chuck that.
Oh, threw him at him?
Yeah. Then the next thing, off with my jumper and top. You want them off? I'll give you them off. Track it. So I'm standing there in my brand knickers. Are you happy now? And he's like, quick. Try to give me my clothes back. He goes, and I'm like, don't touch me. He's like, get away from me. And the police all came running to see what was going on.
Yeah.
So that was like more trouble that I was in. But both of us never lived it down on the block, because any time he'd go, they'd be like, don't touch me. And I obviously was getting slagged off because I'd stripped down. But yeah, you get ones like that. But he, as I say, wasn't very nice. One of the ones, if you asked him to do anything, he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He was always grabby, shoving you, pushing you. And I think that day I just had enough, because he was demanding that I take my shoes off, and I didn't want to take my shoes off.
Did you ever hear any stories where he's in a lot of sort of, you hear it in men's prisons, a lot rape going on and stuff? Does that sort of thing happen with the women's prisons? Or
and
really?
It's a load of crap as well, that all the women are bed hopping and they're lesbians. Yes, you get, like anywhere, gay people, relationship. Or some people are gay for this day, but it's not bed hopping constantly.
Yeah.
There wasn't in Cotton Vale, you know, you hear about screws with relationships with prisons. No. Dumfries, yes, that was happening. And
what's that, relationships with the prison officers? Like male or female or both?
Male officers, but in the female.
With the
Well,
female,
it probably was, I would imagine, happening on the male side as well. And that was and the reception officer, he would want sexual favours for allowing stuff coming in.
Oh, really?
So I was only there for 6 weeks, and it was totally different. I was like shocked.
So that was what they were doing. They basically, if you wanted drugs smuggled in, they're charging you sexual favours. Blimey.
Which was a bit down there. My most embarrassing moment was, it was my 18th birthday. Usually I would phone home every night, mum, gran, but for a week we had been lying, we were stoned, fit the giggles, we hadn't moved anywhere, and in front of everybody's opened. He came along, 6 o'clock rec time, door open, everybody's come out, and he shouted, my officer shouted me, and I put my head out the door, and he's like, you have to phone home, your mum's been on the phone and she's wondering if you're okay. I'm like, no. Everybody's like, oh, you have to phone home. I'm like, no, I just wanted to, I was like, that's not fair. Right? You could have just said that, you know, at the door when you've unlocked it. By the way, you have to give your mum a phone. She's been on the phone.
I suppose they've done it as well to belittle you a little bit.
Yeah. But so you get things like that, they'll shout out. And then you've got, as well, which isn't as nice, women obviously that have got children on the outside. We've had a phone call, social workers came and took the kids, or they don't know who's got them. They'll go in and ask for help, and they're told, well, there's nothing I can do about it. What do you want me to do? Well, they're only asking you to make a phone call, or even a bit of sympathy. Listen, they've maybe just turned up for somebody to hear them. You're frustrated, there's nothing you can do there. You've just had a phone call, you know, news that, well, your reins were with your sister, but now the social workers have came and took them and they're going to court and you're not getting them back. Yes, they might have been in the wrong and they're in jail, but that doesn't mean to say that they deserve to be treated like that.
Yeah. So what age did you actually come out? 21, did you say?
Just before I turned 21.
And that was the end of your crimes?
Yes.
Learnt your lesson at last?
I got my DCAT, I was doing my home leaves, I had got an outside work party, I had matured.
So
As
when
I
you
grew up-
first went in there saying you were a DCAT, what did you first go in as? ACAT?
No,
No.
ACAT, that's more a thing in England. You do have ACATs, but it's more for the likes of Paul Ferris and things like
Yeah.
serious gangsters. So it's BCAT you go in as,
BCAT.
everybody's a BCAT. It's the same as we don't have regimes like your enhanced and your basic and things like that. So it's because there was nothing really to earn. We didn't get rec,
Yeah.
we didn't get exercise yard. You know, if you had a job, great. If not, you were locked up all day, and it was all day. So when
Yeah.
somebody says like 23-hour dub up, it basically was that. Saturdays and Sundays, you were only maybe out for 3 hours.
Blimey.
5
How long
o'clock.
did it take you to get down to the different cats?
And all my other sentences, short sentences, I never got off a BCAT. It was only once I was doing the longer 4 years and 8 months. Because I appealed my sentence, because that was another issue. My lawyer had said to me, well, I heard him saying, you'll be out for Christmas. And I thought he meant that Christmas, which was only a few weeks away. He didn't mean that Christmas, and neither did the judge. So I had a little bit of a tantrum in the dock, and he forgot to sentence me on a breach of the peace, which was a stupid charge after all the other ones that we'd get sentenced for. And I thought the sentence was excessive, so I wanted to appeal it, went to the High Court, and the judge went, no, come on. That's fair enough, but you've not got sentenced on that 3 months, so we're going to add you. There was 3 months on a breach of the peace, and they added that in, but they ran it concurrent for me. So that was, as I say, it was stupid, that as well. But get out from, once the appeal was done, you can't come off your BCAT until you've done your appeal. I got my CCAT straight away.
Right.
And then it took me about 6 or 7 months, and I kept applying for my DCAT, and they kept refusing it because obviously I hadn't behaved before. I had been through about 3 different work parties, and I would be falling out with, because I didn't want to do what I was told, I didn't like the job. Got the cookhouse, which was a really good job, and it lasted a day because a knife had went missing. And it was just misplaced, but it caused a big argument. And me and another girl got into an argument over where the knife was. Got sacked after that because I was last in the door, I was first out. Got my garden job, I liked that, it was the summertime. I tried to prove myself with that one, I behaved and everything. And every time I went up for my DCAT, they kept refusing it. So I had to get my lawyer to come in, speak to the governor. And they were like, well, if she does another 3-4 months of doing what she's doing, we'll consider it. And then I got a supervisor that had known me since I was 16, and she's like, I'll sign off on it, but you've got to promise me that you'll behave. I was like, yeah, I will. And she's like, answer me this question. Okay, she went, if I give you your DCAT and we let you out, and she said, and you're going to work, and you're in the car, and you're getting dropped off, and the light's at red, what are you going to do? I'm sitting thinking, well, I'm not driving, I'm not going to do anything. That's a stupid question. I said, I'm not going to do nothing, why? She went, that's the right answer. She went, I was waiting on you saying, as soon as the car stops, I'm going to run. Well, why would I even admit to that, even if I was going to do it?
Right.
So I thought I was about it, but she signed off on it, and I got my chance, and I thought, I'm taking it. And as I say, I did. Got my outside work party. I was working in staff canteen, which was just across. I wasn't trusted to go out into Stirling and get it, but I got work party across the road, which was a big thing for me. And then they moved me on to what was called the TFF unit, which is training for freedom for long-term prisoners. So you're in with lifers and things like that. We got to go and do our own shopping, and we would get handed 150 quid in cash. You would get 2 of you nominated on a Friday out of the unit to go and do the shopping at Tesco's. You'd get a taxi. I was like, ooh, all excited. Yeah. And when I first got my DCAT, somebody said to me, can you put your name down for swimming now? Fuck off, I'm not a first offender, I'm not falling for that. Like, no. And they're like, no, honestly, now you're on the TFF and you've got your DCAT, you can put your name down for swimming on a Thursday night. I'm adamant, I'm not falling for it. No. Goes over to the gym the next day, and Stevie, the screw, and he's like, are you coming swimming? And I was like, look, don't you start. I've had this. I'm not falling for it. I'm not going to swim. It turns out we did get to go swimming on a Thursday night. You'd get taken up to HMP Pullman, young offenders, they've got the swimming pool. So I was like, well, maybe I will go swimming then. But I thought they were all trying to like have a laugh, wind me up, and I was like, I'm not falling for it. Nearly cut my nose off to spite my face with that one. Because you do hear about it's like bingo night, isn't it? I put your name down for the disco on Friday night and stuff. That's what I thought they were trying. I'm like, I've been here, I'm not falling for that. But it was.
So what advice would you have to any youngsters that are sort of, female youngsters that are in that circle?
I knew you were going to ask that question. Because you get all these other ex-cons that will say, I'm out here trying to educate the youth. I don't want them to make my mistakes. Do you know what I'm going to say? I've got absolutely nothing for them. You've heard my story. You heard where it got me. It's up to you to decide what you do with that.
Yeah, mate, you're
because
right,
at that age, I didn't care. I had people I could see what they were. Didn't bother. I just thought, so what?
Yeah, I think as long as, like you say, if they can see people's interviews and they see the knowledge, they can see what's happening to people, it's down to them to take it on board and help themselves, isn't it? If that's what sort of
so
situation
I don't have any advice. It's entirely up because I know that if somebody was getting, I'd be like, right, yeah, look at you, you're old. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get caught. I'm not as stupid as that. That's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Which we know it will, but I don't have listened, so I'm not going to waste my breath.
Yeah, I think youngsters do listen to people that have actually been there, seen it, done it, though, don't they? Like,
I never.
No, well, yeah, clearly.
But and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People think that, and some people it might work for.
Yeah.
They might see it. They might think. And as I say, I learned quite. Although I was in for all my teens, basically, I did learn quite quick compared to some people. You know, by the time I was 20, I never had another sentence again. I'm not saying I wasn't involved in crime. I just didn't have to go back to prison.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then obviously, I started a family, run my own business now. Law-abiding citizen, do as I'm told, follow the rules. But it could have went badly wrong. At any of those times, armed response could have come along, somebody could have fought back, we could have crashed a car, could have took some drugs, but could have been dead at any one of those turns.
Yeah.
Would have only been myself to blame.
Okay, Amanda, we start to wind it up there. Thank you for coming. So obviously you do a lot of social admin on Facebook groups and Twitter stuff. Put up some great posts of all different crimes. Can you just let the viewers know of all your social admin groups?
all of my social admin groups.
And all your names as well.
No, I'm not giving you all my names. And I am me, and that Amanda Green is my real name. There might be variations of it in other profiles, but that's it. I've got the British Gangland crime film documentaries, Crime Time UK, Gangsters and Villains from Around the World, HMP Connections, and there's something else, but I can't remember
Liquid
it.
Bullet Productions.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously
are.
we've got Liquid Bullet Productions, my posts up there. That's going to have to be it. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry. Just find me in a group and ask me and I'll look it up.
Lovely. Thanks for coming, Amanda.
Thanks for
Much
having me.
appreciated.